In the quiet suburb of Brighton, Rochester, on a fateful day in February 1982, the peace was shattered for James Krauseneck. Returning home from work, he discovered a chilling scene. His 29-year-old wife, Cathleen Krauseneck, lay dead on their bed with a fatal axe wound to her head. But who could have committed such a heinous act? Well, join us today as we unravel the mystery behind the death of Cathleen Krauseneck and delve into the details of event leading to her tragic passing. Cathleen Krauseneck, born on April 14, 1952, in Mount Clemens, Michigan, was the second eldest among 6 siblings. Known affectionately as Kathy, she radiated a dynamic and spirited personality. Fate brought her together with James Crack during their time at Western Michigan University, leading to their marriage in May 1974. Despite the favorable life they enjoyed, the couple faced challenges, including a miscarriage in Colorado. However, in April 1978, their fortunes changed with the birth of their daughter, Sarah. The family of 3 later moved to Lynchburg, Virginia in 1979, where James worked as an economics educator at Lynchburg College. James, despite starting a dissertation, never completed it for review. He didn't resubmit the work, leading to an unfinished academic pursuit. Kathy, wanting financial stability, urged him to find a better-paying job for their family's well-being. Initially hesitant, James eventually sought better employment after a salary increase request was denied. He embraced the role of an economist at Eastman Kodak, a well-paying position that, combined with financial support from his parents, allowed the Krauseneck family to move to 33 Del Rio Drive in suburban Brighton, New York, close to the Kodak headquarters. After relocating, Kathy enrolled their daughter, Sarah, in the nearby Queen of Peace Nursery School. Despite the family's growing prosperity, Kathy began feeling lonely as Sarah attended school and participated in dance classes, while James was frequently occupied with work. Spending significant time alone at home, Kathy was unaware of the unforeseen challenges that fate had in store for her. On the evening of February 19, 1982, tragedy struck the Krauseneck family in Brighton. James, returning home after a long day at work, discovered a horrifying scene. His wife, Kathy, lay lifeless on their bed with an axe embedded in her skull, and blood was spilled across the bed. Miraculously, their 3-year-old daughter, Sarah, remained unharmed. When the police arrived, James recounted his day, mentioning he left for work at 6:30 a.m., and Kathy intended to spend the day caring for their daughter. He returned home around 4:50 p.m. and found his wife's lifeless body. Swiftly, he took his daughter and sought refuge at a neighbor's house to call for help. Sarah's responses to the police were perplexing. She described seeing a bad man in their parents' bed with an axe in his hand, but Detective Flood suspected her account might not be accurate. He believed she witnessed her mother covered in blood. Despite searching for forensic evidence, the police found no fingerprints, but they discovered indications of a staged burglary. The shattered glass pane in the doorway, a small axe, and scattered items in the dining room hinted at a carefully orchestrated crime. Strangely, nothing was stolen, raising suspicions that the burglary was a cover-up for Kathy's murder. The mysterious scene left investigators puzzled, contemplating the true motive behind this tragic event. To identify the person responsible for the crime, the police conducted a thorough investigation into potential suspects linked to the incident. This search led them to their initial suspect, Edward Larrabee, a 29-year-old convicted murderer and offender who lived nearby. During the time of Cathleen Krauseneck's murder, Larrabee worked as a maintenance man at an apartment complex in Greece, another suburb of Rochester. Larrabee had a troubling criminal history marked by violent acts against women, earning a reputation as a self-described sociopathic killer. Despite his criminal record, establishing a direct link between him and the key evidence in this specific crime proved challenging, and the Brighton axe murder case remained mysterious for 12 years. In 1994, Larrabee was incarcerated, serving 2 life sentences for abuse and attempted murder charges. the case remained unsolved for 2 more decades until Larrabee died in 2014. Before his demise, he admitted to several crimes, including the 1991 killing of Stephanie Kupczynski, a music teacher from Greece. Additionally, he confessed to the Brighton axe murder of Cathleen Krauseneck in February 1982. However, discrepancies in his confession, such as inaccuracies in the timeline and details of the crime, cast doubt on its reliability. Despite this incomplete resolution, the police were unsatisfied and sought substantiated outcomes. They shifted their focus to James Krauseneck, who had moved on with his life after Kathy's death. In 1982, James returned to Mount Clemens with Sarah. In 1986, he entered a second marriage that ended abruptly, and by the early 1990s, he had relocated to Washington State, pursuing a successful career and marrying 2 more times. James, along with his 4th wife Sharon, achieved the lifestyle Kathy had once envisioned. They had a daughter in the early 2000s, acquired properties in Washington State and Arizona, and remained connected with Sarah, who had moved to Texas and started her own family. Despite the family's prosperity, the Brighton axe murder case lingered, leaving crucial questions unanswered. As James enjoyed a life aligned with his dreams, Kathy's family continued to seek justice. Law enforcement believed substantial evidence against James was necessary to confirm their suspicions. In 2015, they conducted advanced forensic examinations, but these efforts didn't provide conclusive outcomes. In April 2015, District Attorney Sandra Dorley and her team resumed the investigation with a more focused approach, exploring previously unnoticed evidence. One significant piece was a delicate blue fiber from a broken window, correlated with an untested blue sock found in the house. However, exhaustive testing revealed no DNA trace from outside the household, weakening the notion of an external perpetrator. With this breakthrough, the focus shifted to James, recognizing the challenge of pressing charges solely on circumstantial evidence. Despite these challenges, the police presented the case to the FBI Buffalo Cold Case Group in June 2015. The complete case file was handed over for digital conversion. In 2016, detectives visited James in Washington for an interview, expressing their belief in his involvement. A year later, in 2018, the police sought an alternate perspective on the time frame of Kathy's death from pathologist Dr. Michael Baden. In October 2019, after 37 years, a breakthrough emerged. Dr. Baden suggested Kathy's death likely occurred around 3:30 a.m. This observation aligned with prosecutors' theories, indicating James would have been at home at that time. Combining this information with Sandra Dorley's team's findings, a clearer picture of the case emerged. On November 1, 2019, 68-year-old James Krauseneck was formally charged with an indictment. A week later, he surrendered to authorities in Rochester, New York, entering a plea of not guilty during the subsequent court hearing. On September 6, 2022, 40 years after the tragic death of Kathy Krauseneck, her husband James Krauseneck went to trial for her murder. Monroe County. Immediately after the verdict, law enforcement deputies took James into custody. During the sentencing on November 7, 2022, Sarah, who was present in the house at the time of her mother's murder, expressed disappointment in the verdict, stating her belief that her father was wrongfully convicted. James, now 71, spoke to the court for the first time, reaffirming his love for Kathy and asserting his innocence. Despite his plea, the judge sentenced James to 25 years in prison. After 4 decades of mourning, Kathy's family found a sense of relief in witnessing justice being served. However, James's advocates, including his daughter Sarah, his wife Sharon, and his closest family, remained resolute in their belief in his innocence. They expressed their intention to appeal the jury's guilty verdict, aiming to ensure that justice is genuinely and accurately upheld. Unfortunately, on May 5, 2023, James Krauseneck passed away in the infirmary of Mohawk Correctional Facility in Rome, New York, at the age of 71. His cancer diagnosis emerged only after his incarceration, and his death occurred just 6 months after being sentenced for the murder of his wife, Cathleen Krauseneck, in a case widely recognized as the Brighton Axe murder. And there you have it, guys. If you want more videos like this, be sure to hit that like button and share this video with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for more amazing content. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.